In this lecture, we are going to start, we want to create an ARP spoofing Python program. So this is the algorithm and the program plan. So our aim is to create a program to perform ARP spoofing. We have already seen how ARP protocol work. Now we want to create a program to carry out ARP spoofing in order to put us in the middle of communication between two communicating devices. This is the algorithm which contains the steps that we want to follow to attain our goal, our aim. All right. So the first step that we want to do, we want to accept target from the terminal. So we want to get the user to input the two devices that you want to spoof. Say the gateway and then one other host, the router IP address, and then another device IP address. Is going to enter the IP address from the terminal, and then next we are going to get the MAC address of both the victim device and the gateway, so that we can spoof the devices, because we know that communication in a network uses both the MAC address. So using ARP protocol, the devices will resolve the MAC addresses of a device that they want to communicate with. So they will send an ARP using ARP protocol. They will send an ARP request to the device that they want to communicate with, since they are familiar with each other's IP address. So using that IP address, send an ARP request, get the MAC address, and then now it is the MAC address that they will use to interact among themselves. So we need to have the victim MAC address and the gateway MAC address, and then that is what we are going to try to achieve in step number 2. Then the third step, we are going to spoof the target and the gateway. Tell the target that we are the gateway. Since now we have the MAC address of the gateway, then we will communicate with the target, the victim device that we want to spoof. Tell it that we are the gateway. Then we'll go to the gateway again and tell the gateway that we are the target. Since we know the target MAC address, then we will use the MAC address and tell the gateway that we are the tell the gateway that we are the target that it is trying to communicate with. Now finally, after we have performed our ARP spoofing man in the middle attack, after we are done with that, then we'll want to clean and restore the ARP table, so that the victim will not suspect that anything has happened. So we are going to clean the ARP table after carrying out the man in the middle attack. And then these steps have resolved into functions. So we are going to have 4 functions. A function to get the targets from the terminal. We get the user to input the IP addresses, which correspond to step number 1 of the algorithm. And then a function to get the MAC address of both the victim and the gateway. And then a function to spoof the target, and then a function to clean the ARP table. All right. So let's get into our program and start scripting. So I've already created a file called arpspoof.py, and then I've entered the shebang and a single line comment, line number 3. This is a program to perform ARP spoofing on a target. All right. So now our first step. Go back to the algorithm. Our first step is to create a function to get the target. So accept target from the terminal. So I don't need to invent the wheel, since we have already done that. We have already seen how we can do that in one of the 2 earlier programs that we created. So I'll simply go to either of the programs and then get that code, and then just come and paste it here. So I'll go to the mark changer that we did. I'll come here, open file, and then go to that file where I have it in my computer, and then copy that code. So we have host scanner. I'll open it, and then we have get target. So basically we are going to make use of the same thing, so we don't need to reinvent the wheel and record again. So I'll just copy the whole of the code, copy it, then I can close this, then I'll come and paste it here. So a function to get target over the terminal. So I'll just make some little changes. We have parser created an object. So add argument. Here we are getting the target. Okay, let me change it to, instead of target, let me get it to victim. Victim device, victim, and then also here let me change it to victim. The victim device that is communicating with the gateway. that we want to spoof. So here also, let me change it to victim. Victim. All right, victim. Then specify a victim IP address. Specify the victim's IP address. The victim IP address. IP address. Now next, we also after we have the address. Okay, so here we are only having one option, so let me add another option again. Parser.add argument. Add argument. Then here we are going to try to get the gateway. All right, so G, and then I can dash gateway. Then I'll come here, just gateway. So okay, let me add gateway IP, so it will make more sense. So gateway IP. Also here, let me make it victim IP. So victim IP. Okay, come down here and then put a comma, then help message should be specify gateway IP address. Specify the gateway IP address. So specify the gateway IP address. All right, let me do it with this message. So specify the gateway IP address. All right, so here we and then option parser.firstAsk, which will pass over the terminal and get the argument for us. Now then we are going to perform check. If not, option dot victim IP. Option dot victim IP. Then we're going to put an error here. Body, you need to specify the victim IP address. Specify the victim IP address and the victim IP address. Victim the victim. All right, I can still write it there. So the victim IP address to get the tool kicking. All right, so then it will exit since the user didn't enter one of the arguments. But here we are having two arguments, so let me add a leave, not option dot gateway IP. Gateway IP. What do we want the program to do? We want the program to output this error message. Parser.error message. We want it to output this error message. Hey buddy, hey buddy, you need to specify the gateway IP, the gateway IP address, the gateway IP address to get the program. All right, so to get the tool kicking. All right, so and then this will guide the user that he need to enter the gateway IP address. Else, now if the user happens to enter both the IP and the gateway IP address, then we just want the function to return option. An option will contain both the victim IP and the gateway IP. So we have achieved step number 1, which also correspond to function get target in our program plan. Now let's go back to the program plan again. Okay, you can save this And then let's go back to the algorithm on the program plan and see what is our next plan, what is our next objective. Now the next objective is step number 2. Then create a function to get the MAC address of both the victim and the gateway. So we use the function to get the MAC address of the victim and the gateway. All right, so I'll just come back here and then create and define another function again, get MAC. So I'll just come down and then I can put a comment, add a comment, which is always good to properly document our code with comment. So a function to get a MAC address, a function to get a MAC address, and then I can define a function get MAC. So and then now also this also we didn't need to reinvent the wheel here again. We are going to reuse code, and then perhaps we might need to make some little modification to it. We are going to make use of the code that we had in our program host scanner that we did, because we make use of the ARP protocol. Here also we are going to make use of the ARP request to send an ARP request to either the victim or the gateway and then from the response sent back by the victim or the gateway, we will be able to extract the MAC address of the victim and the gateway. So to do that, I'm going to open our file again. I'll just come here, open file, go to that program, and then get the code so that we don't need to recode that portion of the code again. So I'll just come here, host scanner, open it. That is the program that we use, ARP, and we created ARP request. So I'm going to make use of that again, and then okay, scan target. So I'll just copy the whole of the code here, and then we'll go over and make some modifications to it. So I'll copy it. So copy, and then I'll close this, and then I'll come here and then paste it. So and then we also need to import our modules. We didn't import any module here. We forgot to import modules. So just come down here. So target we need to import option module ARPAS. So I'll just come here and then add a comment, import modules. So I'll just come here and then import ARPAS. Okay, so module ARPAS, and then we also need to import module escapee, because that is what we are going to use to send an ARP request packet. So import escapee. Okay, so import escapee.all, as escapee. Remember that is how we the format we use to import escapee.all module. Import escapee.all as escapee, and then we use it as escapee throughout our program. So and then here we have ARP request, and in our function get MAC we have line 34, which will basically create an ARP packet, and then line 35 create a broadcast packet, and ether packet, which is one which we have assigned the destination MAC as the broadcast MAC. So basically it's a broadcast packet that will be sent to all the devices on the subnet. So and then we combine them to create a broadcast ARP request, and then in line number 37 we finally send that particular broadcast ARP request packet using function SRP. I will know that function SRP will send the request, will send the packet, and then return the response to us, and then which we assign to variable answered list. And if you can remember, we say that this function SRP is going to return two lists. So and the first list is a couple which comprises of packet sent and the answer received, and then the other list is the unanswered packet, is the unanswered response that we got from the devices that did not respond back. Okay, and we are not interested in that. We are only interested on the answered packet. And the answered packet is a couple that comprises of the packet that we send and then the response that we receive. All right. So so here, that is why we use index 0 to tell that to reference the first list, which comprises of packet sent and then the response received. So basically, answered list will comprise of couple, a packet sent, and the answer received. So here, basically, since here, unlike in the previous program host scanner, where we decided to send ARP request to all the devices in your subnet, here we are bothered with sending a packet to only one device at a time. We want to send ARP request packet to one of the victim device to get its MAC address, or send that ARP packet to the gateway to get its MAC address. So we are not going to have a number of devices that we need for loop to iterate over them. So I'm going to delete the whole of this. We don't need this. Okay, so here we have this. We just want to be able to extract the MAC address out of the response that we receive, and then return it. That is basically what this function getMAC is going to do for us. So here we have answered list. We know that answered list contains the response, contains a couple, packet sent, and the answer received. But since here we are only sending it to one IP, so here also getMAC. I also forgot to add, whenever we invoke function getMAC, we are going to specify an IP address. So let me call it target IP, because I'm not going to say victim IP, because we are going to make use of the same function again to send a ARP request to the gateway in order to get the gateway's MAC address. So let's call the parameter as target IP. So we are going to send it to only a single device and then get its MAC address. But since there's since the response here, since we are sending it to a single device, so we are going to have only our list is going to be contain only one element, and we can reference that element. So it is the first and only element in the list, so we can reference it using index 0. So index 0 refers to the first element in the list, and it happens that in this list we only have one element. Remember, since we are only sending our ARP request packet to only one single target IP address. So answered list now will refer to only that particular packet, and then this packet is going to have packet sent and the answer received, packet sent and the answer response received. And we can also print it out. So we can basically print it out. I can use escape.ls. Let's see how it looks like. So escape .ls. ls is a escape function that will give us information about this particular packet. But it happens that this is a list, not a packet. So we can use this escape.list. We can use this escape.list because it is actually a list. Packet sent, a couple, packet sent, and the answer received. Okay, so now but let's print it out. Let's print it out and see, so that we all see how it is. So escape.ls, escape.ls, to emphasize what I'm trying to say. So escape.ls, escape.ls, okay, parenthesis. All right, so escape.ls, and then opening parenthesis, answered list. So let me close the parenthesis. Okay, so now we invoke this particular function. All right, so now we call we invoke that function getMAC, and then we give it IP address. So let me give it the IP address of the gateway, 10.0.2.1, and then now let's run the program and see how the program is going to work. So we'll go to the terminal and then call the program and see how so cd, let me navigate to the directory where this program is contained, lectures, and then hit enter, and then clear the terminal, and then sudo python 3, then ARP spoof, ARP.py, and then I'll hit enter. So I need to specify my password. All right, so we have an error. It said name target is not defined. So we happen to have an error, line number 34. So let me go back and go to line number 34 and see where we have this error. So target is not defined. So line 34, line number 34, we have a ARP request, escape, okay, target IP. So okay, so let me call it target IP. It's supposed to be target IP, and then all right. So now we are good to go. Let me save it and then go back and run the program again. So clear the terminal and then run the program again. So hit enter. All right, so as you can see, as I said earlier, ls will only work on a packet class, only to list packet classes. So this is not a packet, this is not a packet, it is a couple packet sent and the answer received. And since we only send it to one single device, to one single target IP, so we are going to have it only one. So now we are not interested in the first list. We are interested in the you see, we say it return a couple. We are not interested in the first list. We are interested in the second list. So to reference the second list, we are going to make use of index 1, so which is the response receive. So response receive, now this is now a packet now which we can print out. So let me go back and run the program again and then see what we are going to get. So I'm going to clear the terminal here and then run the program again. All right, as you can see, this is a packet, and escape ls has given us information about the various fields contained in that particular packet, and we can see the hwdst. Now we are interested in hwsrc, which is the source MAC address that contained in the response. So since this is a response packet sent from that particular device, now hwsrc will now contain the source MAC address, and that is what we will try to now extract from that particular packet. So we can see that the field name is hwsrc. Now we will go back to our program and then try to extract that particular the source MAC address using this hwsrc. So let me clear the terminal and then I'll go back to my code again. Now to extract this, we are going to make use of so let me delete this escape ls. We have used escape ls, we have achieved our purpose. So let me now clean it, delete it. Now we are interested in the hwsrc, which contains our MAC address of the response packet contained in the response packet. So the device, we have sent it an ARP request, and now it has responded in the form of a packet, in the form of ARP response packet. Now from that ARP response packet, we want to extract the MAC address of that particular device. So now I can also print this out. So let's print this out and see how it is going to be. So let me print this out and then see how it looks like. So just make it arrow key, access the last command I run, and then hit enter. All right, as you can see, perfect. We are being able to see the MAC address 52.54.00.12.35.00. So this is the MAC address of the target that we have specified in that particular function getMAC. So we can see that our function getMAC is working very well. It has been able to extract the MAC address of the IP address that we have assigned to it as argument when we invoke the function getMAC. So now we'll add a return keyword in the function, so that whenever we invoke function getMAC and then pass over to it an argument, an IP address in the form of an argument, we want it to send an ARP request. Then from the ARP response, extract the MAC address and then return the MAC address to us. So in the next lecture, we are going to create we are going to progress with our program and then create a function to actually spoof both the victim device and the gateway.